Man, welcome back, guys. It's been a while. I think I took like 4 or 5 weeks off. Imagine all the work that I've gotten done in the meantime, like quite a bit actually. Without having to film things as I go, I can get like a ton more actual work done. So typically on this channel, we shoot a lot of stuff that has to do with Honda, Nissan, and other import cars. This is a Triumph TR8 from 1980. There's a company back east that does a ton of these cars called the Wedge Shop. And I guess they're like the best in the whole country for these Triumphs. But anyway, they want this one turbocharged, and they've done one before this, and they'd like me to fabricate this kit for the second one. So, I don't know. You know, I've been doing stuff that doesn't normally like fit on the channel. So like right now, pause this video, go down below, and just tell me, like, say, hey, yeah, like don't put anything that's not import related or Nissan or Honda related. I won't put anything in the video. But if you guys just like seeing me more often, you know, just let me know. Just say, hey, sure, we don't mind seeing this weird Triumph from the 1980s get turbocharged, and then let me know. It'll help me decide whether I film this stuff or not. So anyway, I've been working really hard on this particular project. I haven't filmed very much of it. This is like a lower piece of his turbo piping. If you can see, this is his wastegate, and this goes up to the turbo flange here, the T4 flange. If you'll notice, I'll show you in a minute inside the car. Let's go ahead and get this video started. I'll explain all this. Ooh, pretty turbocharger. This particular little shiny unit, I guess the customer got a good deal on it. Guy out of California builds these. I believe it's Turbonetics parts. But this back housing, if you notice, it's coated with this like ceramic hot coating. It's smooth and nice to touch, and I absolutely love it. And I want one, a turbo with like nice ceramic coating. So maybe when we get our next turbo for whatever project Panda decides to do next, or I decide to do next, maybe we can send it off for coating, because I think reducing the heat in this housing is ideal. And I think it'll stay looking really good for a really long time. So this is a pretty cool little unit. The front wheel has been upgraded to a little billet unit right there. So this thing should flow some like massive air and do just fine. Pretty excited. Okay, let me show you how this turbo kit goes, and I'll show you what I've done so far, and then we'll get into finishing it up. Customer purchased like a bunch of really cool stuff, and I don't know why I have ignored this company for like the whole time that I've been turboing cars, but this is a Turbo Smart 50mm wastegate, and it's massive. Like I can probably like stick my lens in the end of this thing. It's massive, it's a good price, it seems to be built really well, and as far as like form function, like yes, the amount of air that can come out to relieve boost pressure and keep your boost stable is really big. But this little, you know, space for the spring to live and the diaphragm to live is actually quite small. So if you're trying to fit it into a space that's really hard to fit into, I don't know, this thing is really dope. Like, I think I might opt for one of these in our next race car project. So that's pretty cool. He also got a bunch of stuff from Vibrant. We got some V-bands, some flanges, some flex pipes, this cool filter. We got an aluminum U-bend, which is really small. You're probably wondering what the heck you can do with that, but this is actually to make a radiator hose out of. We got a bunch of other stuff from Vibrant, like just aluminum pipes and bends. A Turbo Smart blow-off valve, which I have no idea how this sounds, but I would really like to know because it looks really cool. And like I said, this stuff's actually like a pretty good deal. I don't know. Why have I ignored this company for so long? It's ridiculous. Anyway. Okay, there's that. Got some clamps. That's basically it for this stuff. I've been modifying his catch can. The drain on it always leaked, so they decided they wanted that welded up right away to start with. And I have to put a different fitting into the top of this, and to accommodate other stuff they're doing. Anyway, so that's some of the stuff that I'm doing for them. I also am modifying a water neck, which just seems crazy, but you know, I like doing crazy stuff. They were going to run the water a super weird direction in the car, and it gets in the way of boost piping. And I said, oh yeah, don't even worry about it. I'll just cut this thing open and put an inch spacer in here, flip it around 90 degrees so the water comes out the opposite direction, and then we can route it back like stock, even with the motor swap that they have in the car. And they were like, hey, cool, let's do that. So I got to do that for them. Now let me show you the actual car itself. Oh yeah, one more thing before I go. If you notice, he's got like coil packs. He's got 2 of them for like a wasted spark setup. You notice he's got regular fuel injection and a different kind of plenum on this. And throttle body, a TPS sensor, and a bunch of various wiring hanging off. And you can see like a crank trigger kit down there. The coolest thing about this is that, I mean, if you were like an old timer, you probably just run it on a carburetor, right? And you can even turbocharge a carbureted car. You can just do a blow through or whatever. But it works really well if you change its fuel injection, because then you can do fuel injection stuff like on a standalone. So I'm kind of proud of these guys for like taking, you know, the time to figure out a management system that can run this and switch it over to fuel injection. Because I mean, like, it's 2019, folks. Let's fuel inject some stuff, you know? Okay, so do you guys ever like build something and then think like, I just really want to add something for structure, and also I think it'll look kind of cool. I had this idea when I was sleeping last night, so I woke up this morning and decided to add it. This is basically, the manifold collects together, and this is for the wastegate right here. But anytime you have like a buildup of like heat and pressure, the chance of it cracking in or around this area is pretty high. So like I decided to like cut out and build some little pieces. Let's see how they go. I'm trying to do this backwards. Yeah, so basically like some support pieces out of like shiny stainless, weld them in, it'll like look cool and add like some nice structure here. That way like heat and vibration with boost flying out of here, pressure, you know, it'll, you know, maybe give it some support, and hopefully it like will just never break. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that really quick right now. But I thought I'd explain it because it's kind of cool and probably unnecessary, but I don't know, I feel like it might help. Okay, we got those supports done, and I went to put it back in the car, and I'm about ready to tack up the actual T4 flange that goes here up in the car. But sometimes after final welding stuff, it'll pull the metal one direction or the other just slightly, and then things don't fit. So that sucks. But, you know, I need the flange in a certain spot in there, so I went ahead and left the flange where it was, and I'm just going to rotate this just slightly. I cut it apart, I'll put it back together in the correct location, and then it'll be perfect. So most of the time you guys just see me put stuff together like there's just never like any problems, but yeah, dude, if you're fabricating something for the first time, I don't care who you are, occasionally you're gonna have to cut something apart, because especially like when it's tight fit in a car like this, you know, sometimes you just gotta move it again. But the goal is to have it all in a good spot, so that way the customer doesn't have any problems down the road. So go ahead and weld this back up, attach it to the flange, and then we can finally like set the turbo on, which is a pretty exciting point in this build. Okay, I got those 2 pipes over at the cooling station. I never like to cool them down like too fast, but just blowing a little bit of air on them, they cool down naturally. It's pretty good. If you cool them too fast, like, I don't know, I feel like it does weird things to the metal and you get cracking much easier. So you kind of let them cool down just like naturally, or, you know, maybe a little bit of air. But once those cool down, we're going to pop them on the car, and the official turbo manifold is finished. Now I just have like so much plumbing to do, like intercooler piping, radiator hoses, intake air temperature sensors, I don't know, just like lots of stuff. I gotta build a whole exhaust too. We'll see how that goes. It's quite a bit to do. I was gonna show you though, this car has like a lot of like new parts in it. Like I believe all the suspension's completely new. The brakes are completely new. This is definitely a Ford 9-inch it looks like. So this is gonna handle a ton of power. What else? Let's see, brakes. Those brakes might be just like some kind of a factory thing, but these ones right here, actually have like the little wheel wood calipers and are definitely like some performance brakes. So this car is super upgraded in all the places where it matters, and now we just put some boost and fuel injection on it, and I think that like finishes this car off really nice. Earlier I was telling you about that radiator hose that I need to cut and flip, which is kind of like weird, but this is it right here. So I took and cut this housing off of this, you know, this is where the radiator hose goes basically. So I chopped it, and then I'm gonna take a section of pipe right here and oval it out and get it to fit directly there and weld both sides, make sure the inside's nice and smooth so coolant flows through it good. And then we can put it back on the car for the thermostat housing, and the water neck will go the correct direction. So I'm gonna go ahead and work on that right now. Okay, I got my piece all cut out. It's really hot, so I can't touch it. But you'll notice that the shape is definitely oval, and this pipe is definitely round. So last time what I did was I just took and smushed it, and then I tacked it, and as I went, I kind of like molded it around this shape. So, I mean, metal is kind of cool because you can cheat a little and then make it nice and smooth. And then we can add this on where it needs to go. Okay, let's go ahead and do that right now. Pretty cool, it's all finished and shiny and won't leak or anything, so this will make it all better. Okay, on to the other stuff. Turbo's in the car, which is like a really exciting point because from here it's just plumbing the exhaust, making the intercooler piping, making sure the oil can go down to the pan. Pretty simple, like it's just plumbing at this point. But check it out, it looks really, really nice in here. I really, really like how it came out. We're able to kind of like just stuff it in here barely. We had to keep it kind of low because of the hood, but yeah, looks pretty cool. If you notice, these are just stock headers, but they're actually, I believe they're actually stainless, so it's pretty nice. Put like a new V-band on here and ran it down, and I decided to do a merge collector a little bit farther over, that way that I could put the wastegate on this pipe up and then make that wastegate have some airflow priority to control boost better. So if you guys remembered, let's see if I can show you. Yeah, see the pipe right there? That's where the wastegate goes normally, and yeah, that's where we put those gussets on it in the morning. So that's pretty exciting. So I still need to mount the intercooler. It's just kind of sitting in there for now so that I get an idea of where it might go, but I gotta make some brackets and tabs to put that in. And then we got to build boost pipe over to this kind of cool looking intake manifold. Just from here over to the intercooler, and then the other side is really, really short. You can see I've already got a 2.5 inch 45 coupler, but that ought to work really well. And the next most challenging thing that I got to do is this downpipe situation. And maybe like in the video, it looks like there's a lot of room, but there's just not a lot of room. So we're gonna have to really bend it tight. But I think we can do it. So let's get started with that right now. Okay, you can see I got a pile of pipes back there, and I've got this other piece like super welded up. It's all finished and ready to go, as you saw in the last clip. So I'm gonna take this V-band here and make an exhaust all the way back here. So that's what I'm gonna do next. Ah, man, we are really getting there. Pretty soon this thing will be able to make turbo noise all the way out the back. Okay, we've been plowing away on this thing for like several days. It's Saturday. I'm pretty much wrapped up with this thing. Project TR8 has come to an end. I'm only doing the fabrication part of it for now, so I don't actually get to hear it fire up and run. I'm just making all the pieces fit, and the owner will put everything together how they want and then work on actually making it run. But I'm pretty happy with most of it, how it came out. Like downpipe came out amazing. Turbo kit came out really, really good. I finished up the boost piping. It wasn't super exciting, so I didn't really film it, but we added the intake air temperature sensor. We put the little flange for the Turbo Smart, and then this is the whole entire intercooler piping on the charge side. So how funny is that? Very, very short. It's probably gonna like spool fast because there's not much volume of piping to fill up. The last thing I gotta do is see if I can use these to create some water pipes that actually come down from his, it's like a electric water pump, basically, water pump pipes. So yeah, I gotta finish up some tubing to go to his lower hose, and I think that concludes like all the stuff that I'm supposed to do on this project, so that's pretty much it. Yeah, let me show you the muffler. I don't know if you guys care or not, but just did like a regular MagnaFlow, plumbed it all the way to the back. I actually redid the piping on it like twice because the first time I did it, the car sits kind of high so you could really see the whole exhaust hanging under. I redid it now so that it doesn't hang under like hardly at all. So anyway, I'll button up the last fitting on this, the last coolant hose, and then it's going away. Okay, I did that thing where I didn't really record the last part of what I was doing. The car has to get towed off today. It's going back home. They're gonna fit the wiring harness for the fuel management system, and then we might see it back on the dyno later. I'll be really curious to see how it does. But in the meantime, it's going to get worked on. As I was thinking about it, the only thing I really didn't show was the intercooler. I thought it would be pretty cool to mount the intercooler to the radiator. That way I can keep them oriented like straight together. So there's something I've always wanted to try. I never really got a chance to do it, but this car, the fitment was so tight, you know, I could actually stack them together with only like, you know, maybe a ½ inch gap, and they stay like that. So that was pretty cool. That's about the last thing I did on this car. Everything looks really good. Yeah, we'll see you back in a little bit. Anyway, I think that might conclude this video. Hope you liked it. If you do, give it a thumbs up. Let me know. Like I said before, if you guys like seeing this kind of stuff that's not really Honda or Nissan related, let me know. If not, you know, maybe I'll just show you just the Honda stuff or the Nissan stuff. Alright guys, catch you in the next video. I don't know if you guys remember Yari's old car, but this thing is bringing back some serious memories. We got like an older Accord, like early 90s with H22 swap. Yari had that F20B, the white one. And man, this thing's like super, super clean, like fresh paint. Looks pretty good, has kind of like a lip kit on it. But I was just gonna mention as a side note, a lot of times when you take your car to a repair shop and say something like this guy did to me, like, hey, I think I just need a clutch. Here's my clutch kit, can you install it, how much? I'd give him a price, he drops it off. Most mechanic shops will just put it on the hoist and slam the clutch in there because that's what's most efficient, that's what pays their bills, etc. But if you go to a shop that specializes in the car that you work on, you might get a little bit better treatment just simply because they have so much more experience. On this one, I could feel something weird in the pedal as I drove it in. And I was like, this doesn't feel like a bad clutch, this feels like a bad pedal. So I got up under there and adjusted his pedal, and whoever had done the automatic to manual swap didn't set up the actual like clutch lever correctly, so it was super over pushing the clutch in. And like you'd push it in a little, it'd go in and out of gear nice, you push it all the way to the floor and it would actually like stop going into gear. Like if you were on the floor, it wouldn't go into gear at all. It's super suspect. It was missing the little stopping point and a few other things and just needed to be adjusted, but super cool day when you can save somebody some money, especially if they're a new customer, they just moved to town. I'm sure they didn't want to spend that clutch labor or buy that clutch for no reason. So I was able to adjust the pedal and the thing's like perfectly fine now. It's like a $50 or $100 day instead of like $500 or $600. I'm gonna fix a few things for them too while they're waiting, and then give them their car back and let them just have fun with it. But anyway, I just thought that was cool. It's fun to help people out. Actually, I'm not the kind of guy that wants to do work if it doesn't need to be done. So anyway, this is really the end of the video. I'll catch you guys in the next one.